This is the process classification framework. So it starts, we have 6 levels. Here we have the business departments, and then we have which we want the business satisfaction for it. But then we have a cross-functional processes which represent the product satisfaction life cycle over the business, which has 6 levels. Now, these 6 levels can talk to the customer satisfaction. The customer understands these 6 levels and can give weight and score for it, but depending on his reasoning. But the business satisfaction is a linear progression. There is no reasoning in it. Okay. So these 6 levels are presented in the linear progression of the business right here. That's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there is no reasoning here. There is a plan. This is the plan. And the strategy, how to work on it. Okay. Okay, so should I leave this on? I don't think so. We don't need it. Okay, so we come back here and we do that. Yeah. To calculate the performance levels must be presented as weight reasoning and level score reasoning. So weight and score. And the total performance will be the multiplication between the normalized level weights and the normalized level score. The total performance in the form of user satisfaction actually is a categories divided by the number of categories. It's a straightforward calculations. Okay. Default value of any given feedback is given as a 0. Yes. Okay. Okay. So basically, here we can see the user satisfaction, features, quality, cost, availability. The features we decided to be 2 questions that are independent and ambiguous, but there is a process between B1 and B2. Now, let's say you choose, I choose features, quality, cost, availability, but you choose features, cost, availability, quality. Still, from B1 to B6 will be a process manifestation of the user requirements satisfaction. But to make the satisfaction true, he will have to be satisfied by this quantitative and qualitative requirements that the website has for the product. So if he clicks on any button or hover over any picture, it will give a 1. If he doesn't, although the business product process or the PCF has a process defined within the business, internal business processes, but then the user didn't use it. So even if you have a performance weight, the score of the user will be the weight times score will give you. He didn't use it, so it's 0. So it comes out 0. So even if the process classification framework is 4,000 processes, and each process you can put it in the department, but then the 5 million employee process classification framework can be represented for one user as follows. So individualization again. So if there is any graphics, let's say for quality B3, what's B3? What is the durability? So I don't need to show the durability of a product to this specific user as a main variable or requirement that I have to put it on to identify the product as quality. Okay, and of course we said that this will eliminate the need for big data because this is the life cycle of the satisfaction session. Okay, I don't want to really, yes. So we go back. Yes. The default value of any given feedback is 0. Yes. Since the user satisfaction process uses weight and score feedbacks, if the default value W and S is equal to 0, a unique user satisfaction process is formed for that specific product. Therefore, it will be a much easier to cross-function user satisfaction objectives over the business strategy and vice versa. All weights and scores input values feedback are from 0 to 1. Please don't change these. They have another semantic meaning, which I'm not going to talk about in any kind of paper now. But if you choose to implement this parallelly, use as it is, so you will not change the semantics for your own software integrity. User satisfaction process classification from evaluation process methodology. Identifying layers of satisfaction depends on independent profiles, the category levels framework. Each of the profiles represents a level of user performance, satisfaction categories, satisfaction levels, and the user indicators over the PCF. But is built on the PCF business terminology user framework. In our case for e-marketing, the user satisfaction relates between the user satisfaction and business processes. So to solve the identification problem and calculation of user satisfaction performance values, we need to define three main categories. Now here's the linking relate between user satisfaction and business processes. Business process. Yes. Okay. So we need to define the categories, the levels, the framework. Steps in building a user satisfaction process classification framework. Now, where steps in building a PSC are in the exact opposite order. The user satisfaction performance classification framework building comprise of 3 steps. Now, actually, why it is in the opposite direction? It's because the BSC made his analogy designed and everything to relate between the business linear progression and the user, which is independent and ambiguous. In this case, we are talking the other way around. So the BSC life cycle is the upper half from the business satisfaction to the user satisfaction. But the software takes the product inside the business. The product is not between the user satisfaction and the business satisfaction. Of course, it's not sustainable, but it's this thing that there is in the applied world or or some of the best. But in our paper, we are talking about the other half, the downside half, from the user satisfaction to the business satisfaction, of course, but we have our product satisfaction in the middle. So it's going to be between the user satisfaction and the business product satisfaction life cycle. Okay, okay, go back. That's why it's in the opposite direction. Deciding for measurements and targets. That's the first step. So now we are going to talk about deciding measurements and targets. The first step of the process calls for determining the product business process, key performance indicators, which are the user framework and the satisfaction framework, and setting a realistic measurement, which is the user levels and the user categories, and achievable user satisfaction targets, satisfaction levels, and satisfaction categories. Now, if we're going to talk, let's say, category, there is a lifetime and a life cycle. And the satisfaction given on the lifetime or the life cycle. What is the lifetime? The lifetime of the user independent and ambiguous variables and requirements. But the achievable, which is the process classification framework, which has variables and requirements. But then, if the user likes these variables and requirements, he will give his satisfaction on the levels or categories. For them to work as the user satisfaction process classification framework amplification layers or inference layers. The amplification might be positive or might be negative of layers like levels or categories of the user satisfaction performance. Like here, we're gonna see right here. Now, the SF satisfaction framework, this comes from the business. Actually, this comes from the business product process. Let's see here. Yes. So the SF is like this one. So this one will, let's say, this is the user satisfaction. This is the product satisfaction. If I want to clap, I have to enforce each other. Okay. So my input will be a performance evaluation coming from the business product satisfaction lifecycle legacy. And it will have a function of multiplication with the user satisfaction lifecycle. Okay. You have to see the PhD. Now, this side is all, these are the categories. So the categories are features, quality, availability, cost. Now, I'm going to put the features, quality, availability, cost, and then the user will choose, drag, and drop in a sequence. So each one of us can have different sequences. This is the real manifestation of an individual satisfaction process for this specific user, although they are using the same categories. Then for every category, he will have a score and weight. Now, I chose to do the weight first.